Greetings everyone, Angrade here with another Advanced Wars by Web replay. Spawn on the south side is the Orange Star A&D. We got zdzi, I think. Spawn on the north side is the Blue Moon Rachel. We have a foreign name. So, let's go ahead and get started. This map is a 3-base map, one airport. There's also a pair of conference towers in the center, but likely they're not really contestable. You still have to protect them though. We do have an early APC deployed by Andy, that's interesting. And Rachel does go for a tank. Triple infantry there. Another tank deployed out by Rachel. Andy is figuring out what an airport is, and the recon is reconnoitering over to the right. Another recon by Andy there. Maybe a little bit too late for a second recon. We do have a tank up here as well, but he is perfectly spending his income. Got double recon by Rachel this time. That's interesting. Recon reconnoitering forward. I think he saw this tank there. Definitely saw the tank advance to the woods. Battlecopter, pair of or triple infantry. Be a good idea for Andy to get out his own battlecopter or an anti-air. After all, I've been told you want to get anti-air out no later than turn 10. We do have a now anti-air there by Andy. Of course, have to guess which way the battlecopter is going to go, if there is even one on the field. In this case, there is. Takes the recon, this infantry's down to 1 health, probably close to 1% health. Medium tank and double infantry. Tank will find the recon, puts good round into it. Decides to counterattack there. 4 health versus 4 health. Recon likely finish off the next turn. Capture the city in the corner. Andy, of course, can interrupt this capture. And probably the best thing that it can do at the moment. Got a pair of tanks there. Does get a good strike on the tank. However, there's another tank nearby for a bit of retaliation. And you could just keep this tank back and let it get healed up by repairs and hyper upgrade. Battlecopter, recon, and tank. Yeah, I guess the Andy can repair up the damage from the covering fire, or she could start going for Lucky Lass. What was it? Lucky Lass increased luck by, was it like 20%, or was it something as little as 15? Can't remember. Give me a moment. Let's see. Improves it to 0 to 39, so increase her luck by 30%. Or up to 30%. I'm just gonna call it 30%. Maybe she's gonna try that. Maybe she wants to, the player really wants to use this day-to-day pass of +1 health repair. It is actually a decent ability. It actually makes day-to-day repairs actually pretty useful. Or much more useful. But it's hard to say. Battlecopter, infantry, and anti-air. Right now, 20,000 versus 19,000 income, so still pretty even. And we know that was also a relatively bad move, because now the artillery's in range of the medium tank. Does get a strike there, hits these units here. Hyper repair could top off this health up to 5 to hit the battlecopter. If he gets somehow squeeze a hyper upgrade this turn, then he could perhaps take out the battlecopter this turn. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Blah. APC down to 20 fuel. You might be able to squeeze out. No, probably best not use hyper upgrade until after covering fire. No. He popped hyper repair? Of course, he can go for another hyper repair next turn. If he manages to somehow spread out the missile silo damage across multiple units, another hyper repair can be used to help counter the covering fire, but that's very interesting. Of course, like I said, it would top off the help of this anti-air. Gets a good shot there. Covering fire is available, which will fire 3 missiles, 1 against 8. Let's see. There's the... Well, let me just read the exact order verbatim. 3 2-range missiles, 3 damage. The missile will target the greatest accumulation of foot soldier, unit value, and then HP value in the order. So the foot soldier one will likely land here. The value one will likely land right here. And HP value probably would land around here. Could land up here. Guys, we'll find out. Nothing up here. I think it may have struck here and here twice, but that's just a guess at this point. Another hyper repair is going to be very needed. Double taps infantry unit there. Tank, tank, tank. Oh, yep. I think I guessed relatively accurately. This one only got struck once. So somehow this only got struck once rather than twice. While these infantry units here, it looks like one landed here. One... Let's see, one landed here. Another one landed here. And another one right here. So this is value, this is infantry, and this is accumulation of health? I don't know why accumulation health landed right there. There's a lot of other targets that could have struck. Alrighty then. That one made no sense to me. That accumulation health made no sense to me because this would have been another prime target right there. Not near enough for a hyper repair. Tank, infantry, anti-air. Yeah. Once I realized no way to cover, wait for covering fire, yeah, hyper repair or hyper upgrade, he didn't even have either for that turn. Like, popping up a hyper repair this turn would have also been nice, but he didn't. It couldn't. I mean, Rachel just got a good superpower of very little retaliation. Actually, near to 0 retaliation at this point. Another hyper repair can be popped, which may be needed, but it'd be a really bad idea to get this. It's already too desynced between these two superpowers. You can't be desyncing a superpower from Rachel's covering fire. Rachel in turn of 108, Andy has 85, so it looks like Rachel has a full turn advantage. Takes out Battlecopter, hits infantry unit there. Battlecopter gets a good shot up there. Neo-Tank, infantry, infantry. The extra day-to-day repair was used for some of these units, topping them off pretty quickly. Of course, it was expensive, but those can help maintain forward momentum. Infantry, anti-air, infantry. Anti-air will take out the Battlecopter. Get some good damage across the front line. It's various infantry. Went from 95 to 119, so that's a pretty good repair. But half its turns already used, and the nice thing about anti-super is also +1 movement range. And I mentioned 10% firepower. Takes a couple more units. That +1 movement range was useful there. Hits the medium tank. The medium tank's actually a little bit now cut off. No anti-airs nearby to help support it. So Rachel's southern flank is pretty bad, but she's going to get another covering fire with little retaliation, which probably will strike the Neo tank. Because it's going well enough for Andy at the moment. Does get a good pin there. Superpower there. Looks like it struck down here a couple times. 4, 7. I thought I saw something up here may have got hit. The value one may have struck right here, I believe. Foot Soldier and HP struck down here. Yep, you're correct. He did not. Rachel did enter for 97. Andy still is ahead by 106 right now. Did strike the Neo tank though. But 7 health is adequate for a Neo tank for right now with current threats in the field. Does have a tank down there, cleaning some outlying forces. Good picks there. Yeah, Rachel's lacking anti-air down south. She's getting crushed on this flank here. She's down to 23 units versus 36. Rachel really is having big trouble right now. I think she just lost all the momentum down south due to the lack of anti-air. This battlecop's been just reigning supreme. Andy figured out what an airport was. Get some good damage there. Neo tanks on top of a city. Hyper repair can be brought on in. Neo tank infantry. And commits a base skip. Well, this mini tank will be repaired up quite nicely, so the battlecopter can't really pose a big threat to it anymore. Pops a hyper repair, which gets a bit more in sync, but can't say exactly sure. Up to 116 value. There's a decent number of wounded units on the field, so the hyper repair is not a bad one this time around. Tank, and mech. I mean, Andy does have quite a bit of value advantage, and not to mention day-to-day repairs. She's effectively at 100,000 versus 132. She's about a turn and a half behind. Tank, infantry. Rachel is starting to fall back, still down by 10 units. It's the medium tank once again, and also traps it again. Anti-air gets struck, but it has enough health to contest the battlecopter now. Does have vision of the Neo tanks and keeps this Neo tank in the forest. Very good. This is tank there. Tank, and recon, or not recon, anti-air. 80,000 versus 143 of day-to-day, so it's effectively 2 turns behind now. Does take the battlecopter. Medium tank falls back up north. It will be a full restore with our day-to-day. Neo tank parks itself on top of the city. Covering, I think it's all gonna come down to Rachel's next covering fire. If the next covering fire is not great, she may outright lose the game at the current rate. It's an infantry unit twice. Mech, artillery, infantry. Does spot the Neo tank. Of course, Neo tank is out of range of the Neo tank. Could advance to the forest. It looks like it'll be a stealth insertion if the Neo tank advances to the forest. Once again, artillery is in range of the medium tank, but this time's on the other foot, which is not good for Rachel. Battlecopter, tank, infantry, and commits another base skip. Covering fire is not available. Neo tank strikes Neo tank. That's not good for Rachel. It's all can come down to this covering fire. By even then, I think she's lost. Covering fire looks like struck the Neo tank and battlecopter once. No, struck the battlecopter twice. The battlecopter's at full health. So that means infantry landed here. Value may have landed here. And health, I think it struck the medium tank up here. So I think health here. Get some good hits there. She's starting to equalize down south. Trying to machine gun down that tank. Tank defeat the Neo tank. But this is going to be a full health Neo tank with hyper upgrade. Yep, this global repair is probably going to seal the game in favor of Andy. End turn of 87. Andy starts a turn of 114. Gets sent up 128. Restoring quite a bit of health. Wait, no, that was a power. What? Okay, got a power, not superpower. I just heard the music. I was keeping an eye up here thinking, that didn't seem like it raised as much as I thought it would. Then I realized, oh wait, the Neo tank's at 7 health. So he goes for regular power, so he's going to try to do a 1-2 punch. It's anti-air. Battlecopter, infantry, and anti-air. Insert 147. Rachel starts turn 70. Battlecopter strikes a Neo tank. Neo tank, infantry. Battlecopter strikes battlecopter. Mech strikes medium tank. Hyper repair is available once again. Battlecopter, tank, and infantry. Neo tank revealed itself right there. Okay, she's going to resign. Does not think of the battlecopter, so that was a mistake. Recon, tank. I suppose the 3 health battlecopter's not too big, but a 6 health battlecopter would be another matter. Okay, using the medium tank 4, get repaired up by hyper repair. Oh, speaking about hyper repair, going for the HQ capture. Medium tank strikes a Neo tank. Probably could have took that shot and then use hyper repair. But it looks like HQ capture will happen. Pops another superpower, which struck the HQ twice. I sort of fast forward a little bit, thinking she's going to be knocked out of the game, but she may just out-resign because she has 53 versus 128. Granted, she only probably sees NAA when it comes to value, but still. Excuse me. Yep, that was resigned there. This is Angrade saying, thank you for watching, and on to next replay.